This is my clamshell Blueberry iBook, and this is a 25-year-old operating system, the very first version of Mac OS X. Let's get it installed on this iBook and let's see what the past was really like. This is what's next. Well, this little computer brings me back to when I was really starting to get back into the Macintosh ecosystem, and it was my first G3 computer as they were transitioning into the PowerPC, and you can tell it's still running. It's not in the best of shape. If we close the lid here, you'll notice that it's missing the top of the Apple logo there. This particular handle is about ready to fall apart, but functionally, it's still together. You can even notice down here at the bottom where the Apple logo is at, it's all messed up. You can see all the cracks and everything that are right there. So this particular system, if we go ahead into the About This Computer, we are currently running Mac OS 9.2.1. And around this time was when Apple decided to bring their new operating system. Steve Jobs was back at the company. They purchased Next Step, and that was the basis of this particular operating system. I don't have the box anymore, but this is the original book that came with this particular system, and there are the original discs. And as you can see here, it says version 10. So this is, you remember when you used to get actually books? I know most people could care less today, but it's always nice to just kind of leaf through it, get a really good idea. And prior to the internet, or right about the time the internet was kicking off, there wasn't YouTube at this point. So yeah, this was our way of learning about the product that we purchased. But anyway, so that is the original book. You're going to notice not much changed with 10.1. That was rushed out to fix a lot of bugs that were in this version. This was announced in 2000. It wasn't released until March 24th, 2001. That would make it 25 years old as of this week. Currently, right now, the date for me is March 26th, 2026. It's enough talk. I think we should go ahead and try to get this thing installed. There is our installed Mac OS X. We'll go ahead and double click that. So we're going to go ahead and click restart. We have the boot chime. Oh, the screen is coming on. Okay, we have the happy Mac face going into the second minute into trying to just get this thing to boot up. Screen has changed. We're about 3 minutes into this process. Oh, we got something coming up. There we go. Preparing the installation finally. There's the beach ball, although I think at the time that actually is a CD, not a beach ball. All right, then we're presented with these languages. Of course, for me, the default is going to be English. So there's our Welcome to Mac OS X installer. There is our important information. We then go on to the license, and I'm going to say agree. So we have 57 gigabytes. Sees that. Only 1.1 will be needed. I'm not erasing it because I still want Mac OS 9 to be on here. We can do a customization. Let's take a look at that real quick. We have the base system, essential system software, BSD subsystem, and additional print drivers. And I'm going to go ahead and untick the print drivers. And that's it. We're going to start the install. All right, there we go. Restart. Computer's going to restart in 15 seconds. If I don't press this button, I'm going to go ahead and press it right now. And I'm going to leave the camera running because I don't remember exactly what happened. So let's see. All right, we still have the old happy Mac face. CD is spinning up again. Mac OS X, tuning systems, chucking disks, cleaning up, configuring network. Nothing's plugged in right now. Initializing the network. Come on, iBook, I know you can do it. By the way, it is now 6:30, so this did take about 20 minutes to install. I think there might be music playing, I can't remember. I'm gonna click OK and continue. That's our personalized setting. Yes, I do hear music. So there wasn't a video introduction, but there was definitely some music and a little bit of animation going on right here. All right, we finally got past that screen. A few more questions. How are you going to use this computer? Home. What best describes you? Let's go ahead and say video, film, music, and photography. No, I don't want Apple to contact me. No, I don't want related products and those vendors. And thank you. And that is it. Oh no, we still have our creator account. That's right. Let's go ahead. Creating the account. All right, get internet ready. Right now we're just going to say I am not ready to connect. Not that I would want to at this point. And we're going to say register later. And continue. Oh Lord, still got more stuff. All right, close enough. That is not today's date. Let me get that set so this computer doesn't flip out. Oddly enough, the time is about right. We're going to say save that and done. Okay, it's booting up. Now I am going to say that it seems to be running a little bit faster because of the SD card that I have installed. I know that that still was going to be faster than the original hard drive that was in here. So that's kind of an advantage, and there you go. Look at those icons. And then there's the hey, what's next computer. And we should be able to drag this down. And it works just like today. Look at that old signal strength for the wireless. And then we have, there are no batteries available because the battery of this thing is dead. Here's your QuickTime player, displays, system preferences, Sherlock, Internet Explorer. Wow, mail, and then the original Finder face for Mac OS X. All right, we're going to do just some quick exploring of this original Mac OS X. One thing I did forget to mention is that what you're looking at here is the underpinnings of what is on devices like this. The iPhone 14, the iPad, the current Mac operating system, Apple TV. Everything has got a Mac OS X underpinnings to it, so you're seeing what it all started out as. So I wanted to kind of throw that out. The first thing that I wanted to touch on was system preferences. First off, I thought this was interesting. It says system prefs, probably because they wanted to make certain that everything would fit on screens just like this one, which this resolution is currently 800 by 600. As you can see here on the top row, we have our display, sound, networking, and startup disk. So if I remember correctly, you could take any one of these items and drag it to the top, and you could just have like a quick access pane here. And here you have Mac OS X Classic. So you could run Classic, which basically was not emulation, it was hardware, but like within a container. And if I click this, these were the options that you had. You could figure out where the drive was at, the startup on login, or you could just click start. And then there's some advanced features here, which is turn off extensions, rebuild desktop, all the fun stuff that we had with Mac OS X. Going back to the show all, color sync, date and time, displays, dock, energy saver, general. So let's look at what general was. There you go, you had, this was it. Your appearance defaults to blue. You could have graphite. Your highlight color was graphite, silver, blue, yellow, orange, so on and so forth. Then you have your international settings, your internet settings, keyboard settings, login information, the mouse. Do you remember that mouse? That mouse there, that was, I don't even remember what they called it, but yeah, that was pretty cool. It was clear, see-through, and anyways. Networking, QuickTime, your screensaver, sharing, software updates, sound, speech, startup disk, and your user. All right, well, what applications came with this system? So I'm going to go ahead and close that out. And if we go into our hard drive, and we go, actually, so here is your Finder window. Again, these are your main options up here: computer, home, favorites, applications. Let's go ahead and select that. And this is what you have. And actually, a lot of those same applications are available today. Look at that. You even have chess. If I double click this, there is our well-known chess game that has been included in Mac OS since the beginning. I'm going to go ahead and we're going to quit out of here. There's your QuickTime player, Internet Explorer. Yes, if I go in and come down here and select Internet Explorer, again, not the fastest system in the world. I'm going to say no for right now. If you're watching this, do you remember this? Do you remember when we had Internet Explorer as the default browser for Mac OS? There's your system preferences. Oh, I know what I wanted to show. We're going to go into utilities, into disk utility that was with this system. Oh my gosh, a little bit more difficult to use. And if we go into disk utility, this is what the very first version of Mac OS looked like. You had your Mac OS X for first aid, your drive setup. So for example, if I was to come here and I could verify the drive right under first aid or drive setup, and you had to kind of define each of the parameters. So if I go into disk 2, all right, so it's the floppy. I can initialize this disk. There's the partition, and I could give it a name. I could say what type it was. You'll notice that DOS is not even one of those options, or at least FAT32 or FAT16. And then there's your partition. Anyways, I just thought that was interesting. Let's close that out. And as your other options, here's your CPU monitor. And just your G3 300 megahertz processor. It's currently not using much power. Let's go ahead and we'll throw this off to the bottom if we can get this to move. There we go. Now, real quick, one of the other things that I wanted to kind of show off was the amount of RAM that this particular iBook has. And you can see here, we're running 320 megabytes. Imagine running Mac OS X today with only 320 megabytes. It's just crazy. Forgot to mention I'm having one of the bugs. I can't eject the disk for some reason. You will notice that there are my applications for Mac OS X. So, and then there's your system folder, all the information that you would need for running your older application. So speaking of which, let's take a look at that. I have this PDF sitting on my desktop right now. If I go ahead and I double click it, you're going to notice that the Mac OS X icon comes up. We're now booting into the classic environment. There is the Adobe Acrobat icon launching, and I missed it, but yeah, there is welcome to Mac OS X, but you had to read it in Mac OS X, the PDF. Very ironic. Again, shows you the fact that Mac OS X, 10.0, was really not ready for prime time. Let's go ahead and quit out of here. And again, you'll notice everything is back into the Mac OS X look and feel. But if I quit out of it, it defaults right back into Mac OS X. Again, double click it. It actually, once OS X is installed or loaded, that was pretty quick. I believe the first application I got, and I don't know if this is going to work, I think this might be the Mac OS X version. It is. So you'll notice that this is Adobe Go Live. So way before Dreamweaver, this was the application that you could install that ran on both Mac OS X and Mac OS X. Now, for whatever reason, it cannot retrieve the serial number there. I know it works. It's probably the fact because it was installed in Mac OS X. Oh, the other thing too that I wanted to mention is if I go into system preferences, I was playing around with this, the sharing, where are we at? Right down here. And right now, file sharing is on. I'm also going to start web sharing and allow remote access. But let me show you something real quick. Not that I would want to use it as such, but there you go. That is a web page being served up from the iBook just over here to the right. And behind that is, here's all the files in FileZilla. One of the last things that I wanted to show was QuickTime. Prior to, iTunes and the music store and Apple TV, this was what we would do to watch video on our iBooks using Mac OS X. I don't know if any of you remember these options. I mean, there's our Warner Brothers and HBO and the QuickTime channel. I used to watch trailers on this. So again, going back to the Finder window, you can drag certain folders up here, so you could easily access items like my pictures here. I got a few. Let's go ahead and double click those. These came from the Sony Mavic camera. It was a video that I did a while ago. And of course, all low res, but they all opened up pretty quick. Now, I did get a DV file to actually load on here finally. I copied it over. It took about a minute and a half for it to show up on the desktop. But if I double click it, this was an old 3D animated movie that I created with a TIE fighter, and I added some effects, and there you go. So that goes back a long time ago. Pretty cool. That's my look of Mac OS X. That's a wrap for today. I hope you enjoyed today's content, and if you did, found it helpful or informative, probably not so much helpful, nobody's running this today, could you take a moment and click the thumbs up icon and that subscribe button somewhere on your device that you're watching. In the meantime, feel free to watch one of my other videos either here or here, and until next time, I'll see you again for another episode of Hey, What's Next?